Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to do one of these real quick videos in the car and no fluff and no editing. I'm just going to do a one-take shot. But I wanted to kind of talk to you about some camera gear and some things I've been thinking about recently. And everybody here on the channel knows that I've got a Z8 that I purchased back earlier this year. And the lenses I have for it, the 24 to 120 f4, the 14 to 30 f4, and the 180 to 600. Those are my main lenses, my main Z lenses. And I got to thinking the other day about other kind of camera bodies that are out there, and maybe some camera bodies that I miss having. I'm kind of waiting to see if Nikon comes out with the APS-C body later on in 2024, or maybe the first part of 2025, to see what it's about, see what kind of camera it is. I would want to purchase, my next purchase, I would want it to be an APS-C body from Nikon. And I would hope that they would come out with a body that was more robust, it had better processing, it had better focusing, and that it would be like a D500 replacement, okay? But if they don't, I'm considering doing something else. I got to thinking about my previous photography days, and I actually got to looking at some older photographs that I had taken back in 2019, 2020, that time frame. That's back when I had a Nikon D7500. Now, a lot of those photographs that I took, waterfall photography and landscape photography back in those days, was with the Nikon 12 to 24 AFS f4. Now I have that lens currently, okay? It's a wonderful DX crop sensor landscape lens. It fits the bill right in there, and it takes wonderful sharp images. So, you know, I also have a lot of other f-mount lenses I could use with a D7500 that I currently are using with my D500, like the 105 2.8 VR f-mount macro. I have that. I also have a 24 millimeter f2.8D lens, AFD lens, which works perfectly with the older Nikon bodies, the D500 and the 7500. I also have a 50 millimeter 1.8 AF lens that I use from time to time. So I have a lot of f-mount lenses still, and I still got the 500 PF. That's another plus right there. So having the 500 PF and all these other lenses only makes sense that I'm going to be looking for an APS-C replacement body from Nikon this year. But if Nikon does not do that, then I may consider buying a second APS-C f-mount camera body, which would be a D7500. Okay, I love that body. It was a great body. It had user settings instead of menu banks on it, which was much easier to dial in. And it's lighter. It's a lighter camera body than the D500, smaller body also. Even though it has the same 20.9 megapixel sensor, and it has the same Expeed 5 processor in there. The only real big difference between the two cameras, the big difference was the autofocus system. The Nikon and the frames per second, but the autofocus system was the big difference. Having the 151 points, 99 cross points in a D500 really makes it a great wildlife rig. The D7500, they did not have that. They kind of stripped that down. And the only other big difference is the D500 is 10 frames per second maximum, and the D7500 is only 8 frames per second. So those are the big differences between those two camera bodies. But here's the thing, you cannot buy a D500 anymore on the new market. They don't sell them. They discontinued them. Don't know why, but they did. But you can still buy a Nikon D7500 brand new if you want it. Okay, and I looked it up today. Murphy's Camera has them for $899. They're $100 off their regular $999 body only, but they have them for $899. You know, if you go on MPB and look at the used market, they're like, you know, for excellent low shutter count is like, you know, $734. So you could save about $150, $160 if you buy a used one off of MPB, which is a consideration for me. So you think about that. You could buy a nice APS-C camera body, a D7500, that is a prosumer body, and use some of your older f-mount lenses to do your photography with, and I believe the results you're going to get are going to be just fine, okay? When you start comparing the Z8 images, the Z6 II images, and the D500 images in a landscape environment, there's not a whole lot of difference between them, okay? What you're getting is newer technology in these mirrorless cameras. You're getting more features that you don't have in the DSLR. But to be truthful with you folks, I don't use a lot of them new menu features, okay? Pixel shifting and focus stacking. Well, I use focus stacking every once in a while, but not very often. So, you know, that's a lot to consider. You know, buyer's remorse, let's call it that. I don't have buyer's remorse, but if I let myself think that way, I could have buyer's remorse. Spending the amount of money that you would spend on a Z8 compared to a really nice APS-C F-mount camera body, you know, it's really hard to swallow that. Think about it. If you drop that Z8 and break it, that's $3,400, $3,500. If you drop a D7500, that's $800 or $900. It's a big difference. So think about that a little bit, okay? And just know that I'm thinking about my days, my nostalgia days, when I shot with a D7500, and I got some really good images. And I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show some of those D75 images in this video right now, so you can just see what kind of images I was able to capture with the D7500 and the 12-24 f4 lens. So I hope you enjoy that. So as you can see in the video, the image quality is really fantastic with the D7500. I don't think you can go wrong with that camera body. If you've got a D3300 or a D5600 or even a D7000 or whatever, consider, if you're going to upgrade, consider getting a D7500. I think you'll be really happy with that camera body. I know I was when I had one. Hey, listen, my name is Ron Durant. I am a photographer and I live in East Tennessee. Y'all have a nice day now. Bye-bye.